Now that we have the rear bumper modified and shaped the way that we want it, we're ready to go in and start to build a tailpipe for this car. And to build the tailpipe, we're going to use revolved surfaces. Okay, so here's where we left off in the last video with the recess built for the tailpipe. Okay, and if you look at the image planes, you can sort of see where the tailpipe is protruding out the back. Okay, so like I said in the introduction, we're going to use revolved surfaces to build this tailpipe. So to start things off, let's go up to Create, and we're going to use a CV curve tool. Okay, and you can start at either end of the tailpipe. I'm just going to start here at the opening, and what we're going to do is draw what's called the profile curve for this tailpipe. And if you can imagine this tailpipe being cut in half, sort of what the cross section would look like, that's pretty much what your profile curve is going to look like. Okay, so we have right here just a little bit of a lip to make a bit of a bevel on the end of this. Okay, and back in here, we're going to make the transition from the narrower part of the tailpipe back into the fatter area. And to areas that you want to have a little bit more of a definition, a little bit more of a crease maybe, we're going to go ahead and put 2 points fairly close together. And if you were to actually add 3 points there, it would be a real strong change. So 2 points right here, and again 2 points right here, about where we're making this transition. And we'll go ahead and just finish off with one last point to finish off this curve. And it's kind of hard to see this green curve against this white background. So just to make things easier to see, I'm just going to go up to Show and turn off cameras for just a little bit, just so that it's easier for you to see this profile curve. Okay, under Modify, with this profile curve selected, under Modify, I'm going to go to Center Pivot. Okay, and what that'll do is put the pivot point of this curve right at its center point. Okay, so what I want to do is actually change that pivot point, and to do that, I'm just going to hit the Insert key on my keyboard, and now I should be able to just pick up this pivot point and move it anywhere I want. So if I were to turn cameras back on, I'm going to move my pivot point to where it's right about in the center of this tailpipe that you can see drawn. So that's about where we're going to line this up at. Okay, so I'm going to go up to Surfaces, and let's go to Revolve. Okay, so here's the revolve options, and a few things that we need to make sure are turned on in the revolve options. One of them is we want to make sure it's set to the Z-axis, because if you look at your manipulator, you can see this blue arrow is the axis that we want it to be revolved around, which is our Z-axis. And output is set to NURBS, and revolve this, and it's going to revolve it, like I said, around that center pivot that we had set up earlier. So we might need to go ahead and set the center pivot back for this revolved surface, because by default it's going to put the pivot right back at 0 world coordinates. So let's go ahead with this surface selected. Let's do center pivot. Okay, and now we can pick this up and move it into place. Okay, now I'm going to make a few quick changes to this tailpipe. It's a little bit large for this recess that we've set up. So when you revolve a surface, the surface that comes out actually has history linked back to its original curve. So if you were to manipulate this curve, let's say move it up and down, it could change the width of this surface. This transition here is a little bit too large. So let's go ahead and, like I said, I'm going to turn off cameras so that this is a little easier to see. And with this profile curve selected, let's go ahead and go to Control Vertex. And I'm actually probably going to have two views open at the same time while I do this. And what I can do is just grab some of these vertices and manipulate these and adjust these um, until I wind up with a shape that is a little closer to what I'm really looking for. So I could go in and tighten up this bevel a little bit, and just kind of tighten that down. I could also pick up this curve and actually move it either up or down to make this tailpipe either narrower or make it fatter. So I'm going to make it just a little bit narrower. Okay, I'm going to pick this surface up and move it up so that it fits up inside that recess a little bit better. And now what I can do is just take this last vertex of the curve itself and just pull it back. And we'll just go ahead and end that tailpipe further up inside this body. So we got now a pretty a pretty fat tailpipe that's going up in here. And if you actually wanted to continue this, you could continue on by building the muffler, but we're just going to go ahead and leave it as just the tailpipe. Okay, so now in the next video, we'll go ahead and start to do some more body modifications to this car.